All right, now let's talk about module formats. So in the old days, JavaScript didn't have a module system. So we used various techniques and formats to modularize our applications. If you have been coding in JavaScript for 10 years or longer, you've probably heard of module formats like AMD, UMD, CommonJS, and so on. Now, starting with ES 2015 or ES6, modules have become natively supported in JavaScript. So this syntax we have for exporting or importing objects, this is part of the ES6 modules. Now, these days, this format is widely supported in pretty much all browsers and JavaScript runtimes out there, so we don't really need the other formats anymore. But let's spend a couple of minutes and see these module formats in action so they are not foreign to you. So let's go to our tsconfig file. Here in the module section, we have a compiler option called module that is set to CommonJS by default. This is the module format that initially came with Node. So now let's compile our code and see the generated JavaScript code. So here in the terminal, let's run tsc. Good. Now let's look at shapes.js in the dist folder. So look, our code looks different. So our classes don't have the export keyword in front of them. Instead, we have a statement like this: exports.circle equals circle. What is happening here is that exports is an object that contains everything we're going to export from this module. Now on this line, we're adding a property on this object called circle, and we're setting it to the circle class we define over here. So this is the CommonJS format for modularizing applications. Now in index.js, look, we no longer have an import statement. Instead, we have a call to the require function. So we are requiring this module to load it, and then we are referencing shapes.circle to create a circle object. So this is the CommonJS format. Now, the great thing is that you don't have to learn this format if you're using TypeScript. So you can continue using import and export statements, and the TypeScript compiler will translate your modules into the CommonJS format if that's what you need in the generated JavaScript code. Now let's see what happens if we change our module format. So back to tsconfig. Let's remove CommonJS and press Ctrl and space to see all the available options. So we have AMD, CommonJS, ES 2015, ES 2020, ES 2022, and so on. Now, honestly, I'm not sure about the difference between ES 2020 and ES 2022. Most of the time, we use ES 2015 because that's widely supported. So let's set that. Now let's recompile our code and have a look at shapes.js one more time. Take a look. This is the syntax we used for exporting these classes, right? Now let's look at index.js. And over here, we have the import statement. So depending on the module format we set in our tsconfig file, the generated JavaScript code is going to be different.